The residents of Baltimore were shocked to know that they were not safe in their homes. The members of the gun track task force were engaging in dishonest business practices, including fraud, extortion, and robbery.
Corrupt cops who swore to protect and serve were nothing more than criminals.
Their secrets were revealed in 2017, and since then, the Baltimore story was covered by the media extensively. How did they get caught? How did they manage to save their faces all these years? The significant news that this legendary police fraud gang had been exposed stemmed from the death of Freddie Gray. Given that Freddie died unexpectedly while in police custody, the Baltimore police station was under investigation. To find out how Freddie died and what caused it, an investigation was carried out. According to the inquiry report, 6 Baltimore police officers were involved in the arrest of Freddie Gray. He was caught selling drugs when he was detained. He was dragged to the police van, where they locked the door. But the fact that they disregarded safety precautions and endangered Freddie's life is what went wrong. The policeman in the van was playing with him like he was a toy. He was treated inhumanely and subjected to terrible torture. He was prohibited from using a seatbelt, and his wrists and feet were bound. He was not permitted to have any type of basic safety equipment. His spinal cord and neck were seriously hurt. He was unable to withstand the torture and passed away a week later as a result. There was something strange about the police officers. Therefore, the Department of Justice decided to look into it further. Rod Rosenstein of the DEA decided to investigate and expose this terrible tale. These 6 officers were accused of manslaughter for having little compassion for Freddie, knowing that the police force they had blindly trusted could do something terrible, shocked the public. This top-notch police unit was comprised of Thomas Allers, Momadou Gondo, Jamel Rayam, Evodio Hendricks, Maurice Ward, Marcus Taylor, Daniel Hersel, and Wayne Jenkins. Everyone paid attention to Wayne since he was the leader. Wayne Jenkins was the worst law enforcement official there has ever been. The GTF was run by him, and he was in charge. You can refer to him as the mastermind. The Gun Track Task Force was uncovered in 2017 by a unit member who confessed to his crimes on a video that the DIA heard. Gondo was in touch with the narcotics gang. The investigators' discovery of the crucial clue that caused them to begin to question the police officers marked this moment as the pivotal one. Gondo's confessions were all recorded by the DAA. He disclosed his involvement in drug sales and use. The DA was surprised when he subsequently detailed other crimes in which he had participated. These police officers have committed a seemingly endless number of crimes. They had a good plan that they followed exactly every day without fail. The drug dealers were their major focus. They would target and torture these individuals. All the narcotics would be removed and sold again. They made more money from this than they could have as a police officer. They go looking for drug dealers to extort drugs and cash from every day. They lack any emotional attributes that a person should have, along with any sense of professional responsibility for the work they conduct as police officers. The only thing they cared about was gathering more drugs to sell. They will make a significant amount of money from this. They did not shoot other individuals with the illegal guns they carry, but instead unintentionally planted explosives on them. They could then detain anyone in possession of an unauthorized firearm. These officers were brought before the court to make confessions after being apprehended. Hearing about all the crimes these officers committed in a short amount of time startled the jury. Wayne once observed some men robbing a drugstore with the assistance of other officers. They valiantly put an end to the robbery, but they were not acting alone. They kept up the robbery and took drugs from that location. After plundering the business, they sold the drugs to additional drug dealers. Through that, they became very wealthy. A prominent drug dealer suspect's house was searched without warning after they stole his house keys. Then they went ahead and made off with $100,000 from there. They used to indiscriminately drive cars at high speeds in a crowd of people, exhibiting a cruel mentality. These policemen hunt people who flee for their life before arresting them. By carrying out such awful deeds, they feel strong and joyful. They fitted illegal tracking devices in the cars of narcotics dealers to follow them. The police officers would be able to find out where and when these drug sellers will be using this equipment. The cops from the GATF either raid their residences or steal their drugs and cash. They committed all of these acts over the last 3 years without anyone even suspecting them. They discriminated against and held a negative attitude towards black people. Throughout this brief time, they stole somewhere around $300,000. They stole 7 pounds of cocaine during these 3 years. From the narcotics sellers, they also took 43 pounds of marijuana. In addition to this, they converted the proceeds from the sale of pricey, one-of-a-kind jewels into cash. According to their respective portions, they divided up the entire sum of money and spent it all on themselves. A group of police officers could not possibly have committed such heinous atrocities while on duty. The court could not believe it. They received a sentence of 112 years. They must serve that sentence in prison. Jenkins, the chief of the GITF, received a particularly lengthy sentence because he was the perpetrator of all of these crimes. Jenkins is currently serving a sentence of 25 years in a Kentucky prison. These policemen's crimes had a significant impact on the Baltimore Police Department. Both the general public and other departments must come to trust them. Others now view them with contempt, since what this policeman did was unjustifiable. The HBO miniseries with that title is called We Own This City. The Baltimore incident served as inspiration for the producers, who turned it into a miniseries and showed it to the audience. Even among female police officers, there are nasty ones. Let's witness the account of a female police officer who was deceived by love and wealth. A female police officer named Antoinette Frank and her boyfriend Rogers Lacaze committed a terrible crime together. The horrifying murder occurred on March 4, 1995, stunning the residents of New Orleans. Together with her family, Chauveau managed her restaurant. They made a substantial fortune through their family business, Kim Ainge, to watch after their business. They had enlisted Ronald Williams as a part-time security guard. In his spare time, Ronald works there. He used to be a police officer when Frank and her boyfriend, a drug dealer, stormed into the restaurant and demanded money. Chauveau called Ronald to the dining room to give his wages. Frank began threatening Chauveau and her brother. Ronald tried to intervene to defend the siblings, but Frank's lover shot him. She panicked since Frank hadn't anticipated things to go worse. Chau and her brother hid in the walk-in fridge as Frank turned around to hunt for her companion. The older siblings, Kuang and Ha-Vu, were cleaning the restaurant when the incident occurred. Frank questioned them over the money, but Chau had hidden it in the microwave. She shot the 2 older siblings as soon as Frank discovered the money. Both of them received death sentences after being tried in court. Frank was transferred to a Louisiana prison for women. Do you believe there are other officers like this in law enforcement? Do you anticipate a repeat of this incident? Let us know in the comments.